Okay, I think last session we have touched in today's session. This is the topic. What is S3? What is the data consistency in S3? S3 storage tier type or classes, cross region replication, S3 transfer acceleration, points to remember. So S3, we know that it's simple storing services. Okay, uh, how S3 store our data? Amazon simple storage service or S3 is an object storage. I told last week also. It's an object storage service that offer industry leading scalability, data availability, security and performance. So every file or every data which you are saving or Amazon S3 is in object format that we have talked about last week. Okay, S3 provide it S3 provide Okay, S3 provide developer and IT team with secure durability, high scalable object storage. Okay, for developer and the IT team, the storage is very secure. Okay, it is easy to use with simple web service interface. So S3 as shown in the last demo, it is very simple to use from web server and browser. Okay, and it allow you to store and retrieve any amount of data from anywhere in the world. Okay, safe safe place to store your files. What are the features? Safe place to store your files. It is object based storage. Data is spread across multiple devices and facilities. So what does this mean? Means if you are storing your data in a one region, it is replicated to different availability zone. Okay, does the last point is clear? Data is spread across multiple devices and facilities. Okay, basics of S3, object based file size. Okay, these are the points to be remember. Okay, these are the things which might be asked in the exam. So file size 0 byte to 5 TB. A single file can have of 0 byte till 5 TB. Unlimited storage. You can store n number of files and the size is not a constant. You can store any number of files and on of up to 5 GB of a single file, but limit is there is no upper limit for the storage. Okay, files are stored in bucket. We have talked about bucket. Bucket is similar to drive, so we have to create a bucket, and in that bucket we will upload or we will put our file in S3. S3 name should be universal. We talked about universal namespace. Why we are talking about or why the name should be universal? Because every file will create a HTTP URL or your sorry or your bucket will be similar to the URL is created. In S3, a person or a company can host a website also. In our next session or demo, right, in the next lecture, we are going to host a website on S3. So the URL which is created should be unique. So this is how the URL is will look like. You can see s3.amazon.com. Okay, and before that the bucket name, and if this bucket name is similar to other bucket, then this URL will have two different domain, and the browser will be getting confused to which domain should I hit or which website do you have to route. So that's why the bucket name should be unique because of this URL, and this is created by Amazon when you create a bucket slash whatever the file is there. Okay, so if this is my bucket till amazon.com is my bucket URL of your bucket, and slash your file name or your slash it can be folder slash file. Okay, does it make sense or should I give you a S3? Okay, I will show you the practical. Okay, this is our bucket. Last week we have created. Okay, this is our one file. You can see the URL similar. This is one URL, and this is the URL which I'm talking about. You can see https:/bucket name s3.amazon.com. You can see, and your file name. This is the URL. You can see object URL, right? This is what I'm talking about. So every file which you have created or uploaded is now object, and for that object is the URL is there. Always a URL is created. So for I have created I have upload. Yeah. Okay. Right. Right. So you can see this is a browser URL. This is the HTTP URL. This is not the browser URL. This URL is used when you are trying to access your S3 bucket by code. Means now as a developer you are going to access your S3 bucket. You want your data to be retrieved from the S3 bucket, right? From inside the code, you want to fetch a file. So this is that URL. You will so we have two URL. This URL you can, if you click here, you can directly access the file. Right now it's not accessible, but in next coming part you will able to access this file from URL. So this is from browser and this is from code. Okay, right now just uh, keep in mind that HTTP URL, basically if you pass this URL to anybody in the world, and he can access that file directly. But if you pass this URL, you won't able to access. Here you have to access through code basically, or through console. Okay, right. Console, sorry, from CLI. This URL is used for from coding or from CLI that we have talked. Okay, this have two URLs. So I have given the second URL here. You can see the second URL which you talked about. This is the second URL. Okay, this is the browser URL, and this is for console CLI URL. Okay, so this is my bucket name, and in the CLI URL you will see no, there is no .com, there is no Amazon.com. You can see here you have a bucket name, then folder 1, folder 2, folder 3, and the file name. There is no .com or something. Okay, but in HTTP URL, if it's a URL, there should be a .com or there should be some domain. So here you can see the domain is there till here. S3 dot, this is the region in which I have created a bucket. S3 dot Mumbai region dot Amazon.com, and your bucket name and your path of your file. So sometime uh, somebody can ask you, or even in exam also, do remember what is your format of your URL. Okay, in some company or some multiple questions can ask you, please select the perfect URL for the your web browser. Okay, what is the S3 URL? Okay, so this might be your exam question. What is the perfect URL format? Okay, when you upload an S3 file in okay, when you upload a file into S3, HTTP 200 code is written if file is uploaded successfully. Okay, we talked about this when we are using REST API. So there are error code or success code are populated in web browsers, right? When a website is down, you might get a 504 error or 433 error. Okay, so that is a, if anything goes wrong, 400 error or 504 error will populated. If everything is good or everything is successful, you will get a 200 error code or success code. Okay, so why we are using this? When we are uploading a file through our code or or from CLI, so if you want to check now if the file is uploaded successfully or not. Until if your file is not uploaded, you you are not going to process the next file. So you have to check the status code if it's uploaded or not. If I'm getting 200, then I will proceed further. If I'm getting some other error, so either I will go to retry the file, or I will create an alarm that this file is failed. Okay, that's why we are checking the 200 success code. Okay. Now, what are the properties? S3 is created such a way that it provides 99.99 availability for S3. Okay, means I have told you, Amazon is replicating your a single file in three availability zone, or whatever the number of availability zone are present, right? Minimum three. Okay, so if your data is replicated three times, so how many chances are that your data is going to loss? So that's how they have created S3. If it's replicated in different servers, so it is very rare chance your file is going to be corrupted or lost. So Amazon provide 99.99 guarantee availability. Availability means, okay, availability means you are able to access the file, and durability means how long your file will be available. So means if you have three, you have copied in three servers, so your file is guaranteed that it will be available. So how Amazon says that, if you have uploaded 10 million file, means 1 crore file, you have uploaded 1 crore files, so there is a chance of you are going to lose one file in every 10,000 years. That is how durable Amazon is. Durability means, is your file available or not, and availability means you will always be able to connect to your file. Okay, is it clear? Availability and durability. Okay. Amazon provide different storage type. In the next topic, we are going to cover what type of storage Amazon provide. Life cycle management for a single file. How much do you want that file to be present in Amazon, and how, in which storage type do you want that file to be present? We'll cover that in next slide. Versioning, and file can have different version. As your code has different version, even the file can have different versions. That is also possible in S3. Encryption, many companies want the data to be encrypted because S3 is a storage device. So if you are an individual user, you also want your file to be encrypted. If your file is exposed to the world, still you don't want someone to get the meaning of the data, so you put your file in encrypted format. So if somebody gets your file also, they won't able to read the file. Okay. Multi-factor delete. Okay, in S3, right now I will show you. I will go to a console. Okay, this is a file. If I click here, I can directly delete the file. It's asking just confirm. Okay, delete. Right now it's asking me to type the delete. Okay, permanent delete. Okay, this is a new console, but before that it was, if I click on the delete now, it was deleting directly. Okay, okay, the file is deleted. You can see file is deleted. Okay, but if assuming that a single file is given, you have created two user, and you have asked the user both, you have given the permission to access a single file to both the user, and by mistake a user A has deleted a file, and that file was required by other user. So to prevent that thing, you can have MFA, multi-factor authentication delete. So before deleting a file, you have to authenticate via your device, mobile device, or any device which authenticate that thing. Okay, so that also you can enable. So why this is used? Some companies or some people, they might put a confidential data or important data into S3 bucket, and to avoid mistake delete, or by mistake somebody wants to avoid that file to be deleted from S3, you are enabling multi-factor authentication. Okay, it is clear what is multi-factor authentication delete? It's not always enable. You have to manually enable that thing. Okay. Secure data using access control list and bucket list. We'll talk about that. What is access control and what is bucket policy? Data consistency. Okay. So what is mean by data consistency? So Amazon or any cloud services, when you put your data, you might have observed that thing when you are using Google Photos and you delete your photos, but sometimes that photo is still available, but after some time it is after 1 hour or 2 hour, then only it is deleted from your drive or your photos. Did you observe that thing? Okay, so that is what data consistency means. So whenever you upload a file or you put a file into S3 bucket, you will able to access that file immediately. So the content is available immediately. Any new file, I'm not quoting what new file. So you can see put a new file. So you are able to access that file directly. So Amazon has a read consistency, means if you put a file you will able to read directly. Okay, but if you override that file, just a minute, क्या कह रही है? किसका कॉल कर रही है? मुझे क्या पता क्या हो रहा है, कुछ गड़बड़ होगी होगी, मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ सही? Okay, sorry. Okay, so what is data consistency? So as I told you, if you put a new file, as soon as it is available, uploaded, we can read and access that file immediately. Okay, but S3 provide eventual consistency for overwrite or delete file. Okay, what that does mean eventual consistency? If you upload a file to S3 bucket, if you are uploading a file in a first time, a new file is uploaded, it is replicated in different servers. We already talk about that. Okay, and if you trying to access that file, you are going to be immediately you will able to access that file. But if you have deleted that file, okay, as it is replicated in different server, it will take time to delete from other server. Okay, so if you're trying to access that file again, you might get a file available, or it will take up to 1 second or couple of seconds that file to be deleted from all the servers. So if you're trying to access that file, you might able to you can see that file even though you have deleted that file. Does it make sense what I'm saying? Okay, similarly if you upload a file, if you are uploading a same file again, or you are updating a file and you're uploading a file with the same name with any update or any okay, so it will take time to replicate that update in all the server. So if after just immediately if you're trying to access your file immediately after uploading or overriding the file, you might get old file also, or you might get new file also if you're trying to access immediately. But after couple of second, after 1 second, or very rare couple of second, you will get the new data. Does it make sense? What is write consistency and eventually consistency? And this is a exam question directly. It is an exam question directly because there is a question, practical question in exam. I will frame the question. There is a data who has uploading a file, and he complains you that he is getting the old file. What is the reason that he is getting the old data in S3 bucket? So the answer is that because of eventual consistency in override, he is getting the old data. Ask the user to wait for 1 second, or ask user to create a code such that he should wait for couple of seconds before accessing the override data to get the new file. Okay. Any doubt on this data consistency? This is exam direct question, and most of the time this one question is coming from S3. Is it clear? These 2 points. Ankita, sorry, Priyanka. So similarly, this is what if you write a file, new file, and read it immediately afterward, you will able to view the data, that data. So write consistency for put data is proper. But if you upload an existing file or delete a file and read it immediately, you may get the older version or you may not. Basically, changes to object can take a little bit of time to propagate. That is what I explained you, and it is in theory. So it may take time to, if you have overriding a file or you have deleted. So for new object, it is eventual read proper consistency. But if you write override or if you delete a file, it's a eventual consistency. Okay. Now what S3 is a key value store. Okay. So right, we have talked about S3 is a object. S3 store your files in an object format. So we have the concept of key value in S3. So what is key? S3 is the object based. Object consists of following thing. What are the things in your object will have? Key, this is simply the name of the object. Value, this is simply the data which is made in of a sequence of a byte. So whenever you, in your hard disk, in your data, in your storing device, you have a file, right? The file name will be there, and inside that file it will be in binary sequence of binaries. Okay, this is how the data is stored in your device. In S3 also, S3 has given the concept of key value. So what is key in S3 is the name of the file. And what will the value of that thing? The data or sequence of the data is the value of that file. Okay. And what are the other things in object? Version, metadata. Metadata, do you know metadata? It's the information about your data or data about your data. Do you know what is metadata? Okay. So, okay. Right now, there are hundreds of files in your system. Okay. If you don't know what this file is, what you will do? So you know you want some information about that file. Okay. The file number one is is my answer sheet of English paper. File 2 is the answer sheet of maths paper. So this is the extra information about the data, or it is a data about the data. Okay, if there is nothing is mentioned about what is the information stored in that data, how will you differentiate the file? So this is the extra information or data about the data. It is called metadata. So it will give you more insight about your data. So what is this data about? Where this data generated? On which date this data is generated? This data is belong to who, which organization, or who is the owner of this data? So this file is called metadata of a file. Does it make sense? Yes, details of your data. Similarly, image. You are clicking image, so it has a metadata. So where the image is clicked, what is the RGC of this image? Who has clicked this image? Okay, these are the information about the data. Is called metadata. Okay. Then sub resources, bucket specification, bucket policy, access control. So this is also will store the in the object. Cross region resource sharing we'll talk about. Is this resource is shared between the region? Transfer acceleration, these are other things in the object. Okay. Okay. So I will show you this object in our lab session now after our PPT. So now coming to S3 tier classes. Okay. Till now we have talked about S3. Till after that we talk about how S3 stores our data. Then we talk about what is data consistency of our S3 bucket. Okay, S3. Then we talk about object, how the object and what are the properties of our object, right? Key value pair. Now coming, what type of classes means how S3 stores your data in different classes. Classes means tiers. Okay, so Amazon provides multiple tiers, and you should learn this thing. You should by heart these topics, these standards. Okay, so this is how you can save the cost in Amazon in storing your data in S3. So let's give S3 stores data in different categories. Okay, first category is the S3 standard. It is always available, 99.99% available, and 9.99 and 11 durable. Store redundancy across multiple device in multiple facilities. Okay, and is designed to sustain the loss of two facilities concurrently. Okay, if you store your data in standard S3 standard, okay, apart from 99.9 availability and durability, data will be available even if the two facilities are down, means two availability zone is down also, your data will be available to you. Okay, but if you okay, now assuming that there are some files which you are not accessing too much. Okay, uh, you are accessing that file once in a month, you are not accessing that file daily basis. So you went to Amazon, you asked the Amazon, that Amazon, I want to save this file in S3, but I don't want to pay the cost of standard S3 bucket because I'm not accessing that data daily. So you can put that file in some that location where if in 1 month I will able to access the file, but not daily. So the processing or the bandwidth is not required that high. So reduce the cost accordingly. So that is S3IA, infrequent access. When you are not accessing the data daily basis, not that much rapidly. So the fee for that storage is less than the standard one. For the data that is access less frequently but require rapid access when needed. Low fees than standard, but you are charged for retrieval fees. Means that you have cleared 10th class, right, and 12th class. That passing certificate is available to you. Are you accessing that certificate daily basis? No. We are accessing once a year or once in a month. So why you are paying high? Why do you want to pay high money if you are not accessing daily? So you ask Amazon that I'm not accessing that file daily, but when I require that file, I need it immediately. Okay, so but required rapid access when needed. My requirement is right now, but I should be that availability should be immediate. So storing the data, the fees is less than standard, but the charges are when you retrieve the file, a little charge will be uh, associated with that. Is it clear what is the difference between first tier and second tier? Now the third tier, one zone, infrequent access. Same as infrequent access, but however data is stored in single availability zone only. Okay, what is mean by single availability zone? Uh, Means it is not replicated in three servers. Okay, so which file you will keep here? The file which you can generate very easily, like just like caches. Some websites do cache of your files, so the caches can be generated very easily. Okay, if anything happened to your cache, you can regenerate very easily. So if anything happened to a particular cache, you are not bothered. So why to pay extra? Why to pay for the standard one? You can move that data to one zone, less frequent access. So the cost is 20 times lesser than the previous one. Okay, and it is stored in single availability zone. Does it make sense? Yep. No, no. Amazon is not the, will not give you the retrieval possibility, because it's saying that it is stored in single availability zone, and somehow that availability zone is gone. You won't able to retrieve your data. Okay, and even if connectivity is lost from that availability zone, the data is not available to you. You won't able to access. That's why durable. The hardware are good enough to store that data for long time, but the availability means access to that data might get hampered because it's in a single availability zone. That's why 99.5, not 99.99. Okay. Yes. Now the third tier. Okay, I will come back to this one more. Uh, Before that, it was there was one more tier was there, but now it is not coming in exam. Even sometimes it's not populating in the console also. RRS, reduce redundancy storage, is similar to previous one. Single zone availability, single zone infrequent access. So designed to provide 99.99 durability and availability the of a object over a given year. Used for data that can be retrieved if lost. Example thumbnail. This was previously used. Now it is replaced by one zone availability zone, one zone infrequent access. Okay, I'm just giving you. I know that this is not in the console, but if somehow it came to exam, you should know the name. Okay, it is similar to the infrequent access, one zone infrequent access. Okay, the data is in the single availability zone. Now coming to the fourth tier which I'm talking about. So we talk about three tier right now: standard tier, infrequent access, and one zone infrequent access. So as a new user, you don't know na your or as a new client, you don't know in which tier should I keep my data, how frequently I'm going to use my data. You are not sure about that. So if you directly go and upload your file, it is going to upload it into standard SC standard. But as a company, you always want to reduce your cost, storing cost, right? So you can opt for the third tier, the fourth tier rather. S3 intelligent tiering. It is launched in 2018. So what it will do, it will try to predict your pattern, unknown, unpredictable access pattern. So basically, how frequently are you using that file? How many times have you retrieved that file? Are you using that file daily basis or alternate basis? So that pattern is created by a machine learning model or AI, and your data will be moving in different tiers accordingly. Okay, so it differentiate your data into frequent and infrequent access, automatically move your data to most cost effective tier basis on how frequently you access each object, each data, each file. So how does it work? If an object is not accessed for 30 consecutive days, then it get moves automatically to infrequent access. But then as soon as an object which is in infrequent access to is access is gets automatically moved to the frequent access. S3 intelligent tires has the same level of jury ability and availability as you would expect for normal S3 infrequent access. So it's like an intelligent basis. It will move your data from standard to infrequent in these two tiers. If you're not using that data, the data is in standard. Assuming that today you uploaded a file in standard and it is not accessed by you for 30 days, it will be automatically moved to tier 2, sorry, infrequent access. And if you are you and after 30 days or after a year, you have started accessing that file frequently, it will move to standard. Okay. So the cost will be, you have to pay the cost accordingly, and you will pay a little extra because Amazon is monitoring your data. There is an application which is monitoring your data, so a cost for monitoring your data will also be retrieved by Amazon, and it will be nearly $1 of a year, less than $1 a year, something, to monitor your whole data. So for TBs of data, if you are paying for less than $1, obvious company will be more beneficial, because to move your storage type, it companies are saving thousands of dollars a year. Does it make sense till now, Priyanka? Okay. So now it till now we have the four tiers in which the data is retrieved very easily, right? You can access the data on an immediate basis. Okay. The next tier which I'm talking about is Glacier. You won't able to access your data immediately. It will take time to access your data. But so why we opt this data, this or storage type? Because there are some data which you know apparently that I won't be going to use this data for at least next 6 months or next 1 year. Okay, so why should I keep my data into standard S3? I should move in some storage where I don't have to pay that much, and the still my data will be available, and that data will be accessible to me after a couple of hours. So that data is not that important to me, is important to me, but retrieval time is not that important. Okay, and I'm not accessing that data again and again. So that is where Glacier comes. So previously Glacier, there was single Glacier or service. Now Amazon has given a new Glacier, it's called Deep Archive. So S3 Glacier and S3 Glacier Deep Archive are two categories now Amazon provide. So what is the difference now? Very cheap, but used to archive only, archival only. You won't be able to access the data directly. Okay, optimized for data that is infrequently accessed, and it takes time, minute to hours to restore the data from Glacier. It's like that you are in India and you have put your data somewhere in very cold storage, and that that data might be in America and in the old server, or you don't know how Amazon is providing, okay, storing the data. So that data might be stored in some old storage or old facilities. Okay, so where Amazon itself doesn't has to pay much because it's all facility. Okay, so that is how your data. So it might take time for Amazon to retrieve that data and be available for you. Okay, so which type of data I'm talking about? It might be the federation, due to federation rule, company might have to keep the data for 5 to 7 years, right? So because of some government rules, the company has to store some type of data at least for 5 years, but that data is not used by the company. So the company will archive that data and store it some into cold device. Okay, that is a Glacier. Now Deep Glacier means it's very cheap now. It is cheaper than the Glacier, but the retrieval time might go to couple of, from couple of hours to 12 hours. Okay, till now are you with me? Six different type of tiers, and which is the cheapest one? Okay, so Glacier and Deep Glacier are similar, but uh, both are used for archiving your data. The major difference is retrieval time or restoration time. So the Glacier now if you want to retrieve your files within a couple of minutes or within 1 or 2 hours, you can put in Glacier. But if your requirement time is like, if I tomorrow I want a data, so I can raise a request today, then the data will be available tomorrow, not today. Okay, so that is a deep Glacier. So the cost is associated with the glacier and deep glacier accordingly. It's very cheap. Like if you, I will show you in the console how the cost varies from standard S3 standard to glacier till deep glacier. Uh, like assuming that your college photos or your birth certificates or any documents which you don't require at all, and if you require after, like you have to submit a file 5 days, after 5 days, you know that that college photos doesn't matter to you. If you want to access, you can access after 5 hours also if you want. So you can put it into deep glacier. So that the files which are not at all used, but you want that file to be archived, and my time to access that file is not that much matter to you me, then you can put in deep glacier. Just like in a company, the people who have exited your company or ex employees data, you can say, company needs to maintain their data, right? So is that data important to company right now? Answer is yes. Is that data used every day? No. How frequently that data is accessed in a year? And is the data requirement to access the data is always immediately, or it required for can I wait for a couple of hours? Can I wait for 12 hours? If answer is yes, I can put my data into deep glacier. If I want that data access to within a couple of hours, I can put into glacier. Okay, that is a major difference. If I can wait for 12 hours, then put it to deep glacier. If couple of hours, then glacier. Okay, Ankit, is it clear? Glacier and deep glacier. It's basically how much faster I can be able to access my data. Okay, so there is no fees associated or is charged for you if you move your data from one tier to another. Means today your file is in standard S3 and you move your file from standard to infrequent access, you won't be charged. Okay, so there is no fees associated if you're moving your data into between the tiers. Okay, so this is a summary or you can say comparison. Standard S3, S3 intelligent tiering, S3 one standard one infrequent access. Okay, okay. S3 one zone, infrequent access, S3 glacier and deep glacier. Okay, standard it's 9.99 and durable 11 nines. Intelligent also 11 times. Everything durability is always 11 times. Then availability, only one zone has a less availability, other has 99.99. Okay, SLA means uh, at what is the uh, availability SLA, how frequent the data will be available to you, that is what. And basic difference between all these things is how frequent you want your data to access. Okay, and what are the charges associated to it. So all the different how long you want the data to store, minimum storage duration of the is charge. So if you move your S3, you are going to charge for 30 days, or if you glacier it, you are going to charge for 90 days if you're moving your data. So the charging, you have to go to Amazon website and you have to check the charging, what are the charging charges is associated, and for how long is your data is going to associate for a particular charge. So in all three is all the tiers, you have to decide how fast you want to retrieve your data. Okay, for standard, for S3 standard and one zone S3 runs on, your retrieval or access time is very fast, within milliseconds or seconds. Okay, but glacier and deep glacier, it can vary from 1 minute to hours. Okay, so that is, you have to decide how you want to select the classes. Okay, so how the S3 is charged? Store per GB. They are charging you how much GB you are storing per GB. Uh, how many requests you are doing in the S3? How many times you are accessing the file? How many times you are retrieving the file? Like that. Okay. Uh, Analysis, how much tagging you are doing. Storage management pricing is there. Okay. Data management pricing is there. Uh, if you put anything in S3, you are not going to charge anything. If you are retrieving anything out of S3, the charge is associated to that. Means if you are uploading your file to S3, you are not going to pay anything. For means you are not charged for transferring the data inside the S3. But if you are getting the file outside the S3, there is a charge associated to it. Okay. Then transfer accelerator, we'll talk about that. Cross region replication, we'll talk about that. Okay.